Hi, my name is Jamie Paul. I work as the licensing manager for Browns Ferry Nuclear Plant, which is a part of the Tennessee Valley Authority. So, when we talk about defining the organization that I work for, the big organization I work for is the TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority. They were created, or we were created by President Roosevelt as part of the New Deal package coming out of the Depression way back in 1933. The idea was to generate jobs in the Tennessee Valley area, which is one of the poorest areas in the country at that time. The TVA provides services across about 9 different states, including parts of Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, West Virginia, and Kentucky and Georgia, for example. The TVA operates electrical distribution across parts of all those states, as well as electrical generation, as well as the authority part of the Tennessee Valley Authority is ownership, control of all the dams and the rivers that pass through that area as well. So the electrical piece that I work in for the Tennessee Valley Authority, like many other large electrical utility fleets, is diversified. We have coal plants, we have gas plants, we have hydro, and we also have nuclear. The idea of diversification, it keeps the costs flat for our customers. So, for example, if gas prices take a big jump up for some reason, that may only be 20-30% of the electrical generation portfolio. So the overall cost is insulated because costs in nuclear and hydro and coal, for example, didn't also jump up. So most large utilities diversify their portfolio to keep costs steady and reliable, and that's what we do. Within the large organization, Tennessee Valley Authority, I work within nuclear fleet, which is part of electrical generation, and more specifically, I work at the 3-unit boiling water reactor site, Browns Ferry, which is located near Huntsville, Alabama. So our organization consists of a site vice president and a number of directors underneath them. Since we run a 3-unit nuclear power plant, we have maintenance, engineering, operations, and security. We have radiation protection, we have fire protection, quite a few different diverse groups at the site, including material handlers. I mean, the list goes on and on. The site employs around 1,200 employees of different types at the site. And so, how do we create value, input, conversion, and output? So, our input is that we take nuclear fuel. We use the human capital, resource capital of all of our employees who have a significant amount of knowledge and expertise in all the different things that they do. So we use people, we use the plant asset resource, and we use that to generate electricity. Although a nuclear plant is still basically operating under a lot of fundamental principles, we basically heat up water to generate steam, which turns a steam turbine. And then the basic principle is that relative motion of a magnet near a conductor creates electricity. We just have a really big magnet and create a lot of electricity, but it's all driven by the steam. The only difference between us and other electrical producers is how we heat up the steam. We use the fission process and control the reactor to heat up the water, which makes the steam. That is our conversion. We make electricity. Our output is electricity. The environment that we work in includes customers. What we do is we sell the electricity to wholesale retailers, if you will. There is effectively a government-created monopoly, if you will, in the Tennessee Valley, in that all the wholesalers have to buy power from the Tennessee Valley Authority within the TVA area. So you might look like you're buying power from somebody different, like maybe the Tennessee Municipal District, but they get it from the TVA. So when folks in our area get their bill, it looks like it comes from one of different retailers, wholesale retailers, and they may shave a little bit off of your bill here or there, depending on how efficient they are at billing and metering your electrical usage and those kinds of things. But they all have a basic sunk cost buying electricity from the TVA, which is the company I work for. So distributors, we are the distributor. TVA owns and maintains all of the electrical distribution within the Tennessee Valley Authority. and we don't really have any competitors for our power within the TVA area. I guess if our rates got that out of line with national rates, people might complain that the TVA should be dissolved because they could be way more effective buying power from somebody else. So we do keep our rates close to our competitors so that the constituents within the TVA, won't solicit the government to maybe break up the TVA because they could get much cheaper rates somewhere else. So we are sensitive to that and keep our rates in check with the industry. Also, part of our environment is the regulator. We have lots of regulations that we deal with, as you might expect in nuclear power. That's actually one of my job is as licensing manager is I deal directly with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. They have periodic inspections at the site. We have resident inspectors who are at the site at all times. I interface between the regulator and the plant and make sure that our plant understands and complies with regulations. If there's questions that come up or potential violations, I advise our executive management about what those potential consequences are and how to mitigate them. And then examples of policies and procedures that support our organization's mission and vision. We are a procedure-driven organization in nuclear power. So we have a whole myriad of procedures, everything from how to conduct our work week and our maintenance to how to take equipment safely out of service to perform maintenance on it. All the maintenance is done under procedures. We also have bigger organizational level procedures. We have procedures that drive continuous improvement. We have procedures that drive self-assessments and benchmarking so that we can get better as an organization. We have procedures that cover our human performance tools and how we do our work to ensure that we don't make a mistake. We have safety procedures for how to safely do our work at the plant. So I could go on for a long time about procedures at the plant. There's a lot of them. And then also, how do we measure organizational effectiveness? So we have lots of metrics that we look at this. We look at reliability for generation. We look at plant trips and forced down powers. We look at overall cost. We look at safety as far as injuries from our workers, and also as far as radiation protection. We look at megawatt electrical production. We also look at our work backlogs, which includes open deficiencies, how long it takes us to get the work done, how many open deficiencies that we have, and those kinds of things. We also compare ourselves to other similar plants across the U.S. There is an organization that's funded by all the nuclear plants called the Institute of Nuclear Power Operations, INPO, out of Atlanta. We all provide similar data to INPO. They assemble it all and provide it back to us so that we can sort of have a apples to apples comparison of how we're doing compared to our similar nuclear peers. And if somebody's doing way better than us, we go benchmark them to figure out how we can do good like they are. And then select an area or procedure that we could implement in our own organization. So something I feel like our organization could do better with is how we work together as teams and how we motivate people to do stuff. Another organization that I worked at utilized a facilitative leadership model. Here at the plant I work at, the model that the leadership team uses is more of a top-down autocratic model. And I think we saw a lot of benefit at another plant that I worked at from utilizing a facilitative leadership model. So, the organization is made up of its structure, leaders, the members of the organization, its goals and visions. So this facilitative leadership model is one of the tools that leaders would use to try to maximize organizational effectiveness. And one of the tenets of that facilitative leadership approach is to maximize employee engagement at the lowest level possible in decision making. You get employee buy-in, you get employees that believe in what's being done because the ideas came from them, and you can much better maximize, we call it discretionary effort of employees to pursue those goals because they're their own goals as opposed to something that sort of the management team handed them and said, here, go do this. So if there was something that I would pick to try to do better at the plant and implement, it would be changing the leadership model at the plant. There are vendors out there that can help with that and provide a train the trainer kind of a thing for facilitative leadership. and then you build that into all of your procedures and processes. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of talk about nuclear power, Tennessee Valley Authority, and Nuclear Power Organization. Thank you much, and appreciate your time.